This is KGW News at noon.
We start today's news at noon with a look at the radar, and here it is as we continue to track the weather system that's bringing freezing rain to the valley today. Viewers in the southern part of the valley, places like Albany, will feel the impact of the ice storm first, but the entire Portland, Salem, and Vancouver areas will see freezing rain from this system before it is all said and done. Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Drew Carney. Rod Hill, though, has the big job this hour, giving us an update on the timing of this ice storm. Rod?
Well, yeah, you saw the moisture now moving up into the Eugene area and already seeing reports of some freezing rain down there. Again, here's the big scope of the ice storm warning. Starts up here in the North Valley and also Salem and north where the warning starts at 2 o'clock. But it's already begun down in Albany. And again, that moisture is starting to approach your area. So freezing rain absolutely on track to become widespread as we roll into the 2 o'clock hour and then quickly thereafter marching through the afternoon. Again, here it is just on radar. That is all freezing rain between Cottage Grove and Eugene. Here's Albany up here. Going to start to see this fill in and become at least light freezing rain at any moment, I think, as we go through the hours. I mean, it's only 24 in Eugene, it's 25 in Salem, 25 in Portland. We've only warmed up a few degrees since earlier this morning. It's 8 out in the Dalles. And remember, the cold gorge, that's where the east winds are blowing, and they're still really gusty out in East Multnomah County. So our futurecast, 2 o'clock this afternoon. Here's the freezing rain marching northward. Here it is, heavier, big-time icing taking place as we roll into the 5 o'clock hour all the way up into Longview. And it still looks like at some point late this evening, here's the midnight hour, we'll start to get some warming coming up into the South and Mid-Willamette Valley, but not Portland. So 25 right now. We're clearly dry. Big-time freezing rain, 28 degrees at 4 p.m. Big-time freezing rain going into the evening hours as well. So unfortunately, the forecast is looking more certain that this will be bad icing, Drew. We'll get more into the details, of course, coming up, sir.
All right, we'll hear more from Rod here in about 10 minutes. But right now, we want to get to our news headlines this afternoon. And we start in Washington County, where just about 2 hours ago, the medical examiner's office announced it's investigating a death that they suspect is related to hypothermia. They told us a Tigard resident was found dead in their home yesterday. They didn't give us many other details, saying it could be weeks before testing reveals the exact cause and manner of death. Over the weekend, we reported on 2 deaths in Multnomah County that were also believed to be related to hypothermia. Soon after last weekend's storm started, trees began to fall all across the Portland area. Some crashed into homes, others hit power lines and traffic signals. KGW's Kyle Aboshi has more as cleanup crews stay busy removing all those trees.
The sound of blowers echoed through southwest Portland. Cleanup is just beginning after a fierce winter storm this weekend. High winds brought down huge branches and trees.
This is the highest winds that we've ever experienced here in all the years that we've lived here.
And you've been here 51 years?
51 years will be 52 years in April.
In southwest Portland near Cedar Mill, the damage is widespread. Trees fell into homes and smashed cars. This traffic signal on Northwest Cornell took a direct hit. Many streets, including this stretch of Northwest Laidlaw, are blocked. There's a tangled web of power lines and branches after a massive tree came crashing down.
No, there's trees that have come over that I never would have anticipated coming over.
Why is that?
Well, there was a lot of rain that we had here last week, and so the ground was pretty saturated. And then this big wind came through, and they start moving, and there's nothing to hold them.
Tree removal companies are swamped with requests and admit there's no timeline for cleanup. What's the outlook?
I mean, I'd be lying if I could give them a time.
The damage stretched across the Portland metro area. Hundreds of trees fell, leaving many people without power and a huge mess to clean up.
Kyle Aboshi. Again, that was Kyle Aboshi reporting for us this afternoon. Crews, by the way, have finished clearing this huge tree that fell across Troutdale Road in East Multnomah County. It fell back on Saturday, but it took some time before crews could remove it and get that stretch of Troutdale Road back open again. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of local residents are still without power, a lot of them because of downed trees. PGE says at one point over the weekend, it had 160,000 customers without power. This afternoon, that number is down to 33,000. There are also close to 7,000 Pacific Power customers in Oregon who remain without power. Man, the situation is a lot better in Southwest Washington. I had to check to make sure that number was correct. It is. Clark Public Utilities is reporting only 2 of its customers are still impacted. No power means no heat for a lot of those people, including the residents of an apartment complex in Southwest Portland's Goose Hollow neighborhood. It's the only building on that block at this point that still doesn't have power. KGW's Alma McCarty spoke to some of the people who live there.
After wind, snow, and bone-chilling cold over the weekend, this is a welcome sight. Line workers bracing the freezing temperatures to restore power to thousands.
We've made some significant progress in assessing damages alongside restoring our service.
However, as of Monday night, many PGE customers remain in the dark.
Tonight's going to be a very, very hard night.
That includes tenants in Southwest Portland at the Morrison, apartments across the street from Providence Park. Several told KGW some areas like the community room, hallways, and offices have power, but none of the units do.
I don't understand how are we on a different power grid? Is it something to do with management? I mean, because it's the only building.
I'm just wondering who's responsible.
We just don't know when it's going to come back on or what's going on. And there are so many families, and there's a lot of elderly people with disabilities. Like I have a disability, but it makes it harder, especially when you're pitch dark and trying to maneuver or get around.
According to PGE's outage restoration map, power should return here by 10 p.m. Tuesday night. However, some residents fear the icy blast could set the efforts back even further.
And it was okay at first because, if you've been in a unit, your unit stays warm for a while. But now our refrigerators, our food is beginning to deplenish. The rooms they're ice cold.
PGE says there are 1,400 people working to get the power back on, including crews from neighboring states who will stick around through the upcoming weather event. A spokesperson attributing current delays to the extent of the damage.
Our crews are working as quickly as they can, but safety is the #1 driving factor.
Again, that was Alma McCarty reporting for us. We did reach out, by the way, to the organization that runs that apartment complex, as well as the leasing office and PGE, to ask why that building still doesn't have power. So far, we haven't heard back. We have heard from some people and families using generators to help heat their homes the past few days. Keep this in mind, though. Gas-powered generators do produce carbon monoxide, so you should never run one inside your home. You should also avoid using a charcoal grill or a camp stove or any other gas, charcoal, or wood-burning device inside your house. That includes in your basement or your garage. Also, never burn anything in a stove or a fireplace that isn't properly vented. One more thing to mention here, you should never try heating your house with a gas oven. The big update today from TriMet is that the Max Blue line is fully restored, although there is still no service to the Washington Park Max station, and riders, we're told, can still expect some delays. All other Max lines remain suspended indefinitely because of icy conditions on the tracks. Buses continue to run on all scheduled lines, and shuttle buses are replacing some of the suspended Max trains. But some buses have chains on at this point and can't go faster than 25 miles an hour. With today's ice storm moving in, crews continue to work to keep area roads open and clear as soon as possible. They're asking people to stay home again today if they can. Here's KGW's Daisy Caballero with more.
We think that sort of this storm is saving its worst for last.
As we're nearing the end of Portland's first winter storm this year, a separate ice storm is headed our way Tuesday afternoon, creating, once again, dangerous traveling conditions. Don Hamilton with ODOT says crews have been working 12-hour workdays trying to keep the roads clear and safe to drive on.
We're preparing for this by putting some de-icer down on the road, getting the salt down, getting all of our tools down on the road in anticipation of this. And we're encouraging everybody to stay home one more day until this is all done.
He says they're keeping a close eye on trouble spots in higher elevations, including the Coast Range, the Cascades, and the Columbia River Gorge, where a combination of high winds and heavy snow has caused road closures.
We're dealing with it on a personal level, and we're dealing with it at work.
Downed trees are also something Ken Bozen and Doug Cooper deal with daily at work and now at home too. Trees nearly crushed both of their homes over the weekend, saying this storm damage is one of the worst they've seen in their nearly 8 years with Multnomah County Transportation.
It feels like we're just going from one to the next, closing roads, and the trees has been our biggest battle in this one, not the snow and ice.
On the other hand, TriMet and Amtrak's biggest service issues have been just that. TriMet tells KGW its Max Line rail services remain suspended on Monday as they work to clear tracks and repair equipment and don't have a timeline services will be restored. Daisy Caballero, KGW News.
Multnomah County is holding a press conference at 1 o'clock this afternoon to talk about today's forecasted ice storm and how the county plans to tackle it. We'll have a breakdown for you about that plan coming up later this afternoon during the news at 4. Of course, you can also find the latest on the forecast and closures on our website, KGW.com.